PSA before this episode begins. Your boy has just graduated college, so I have been quite busy with life crap, but for now please enjoy this episode recorded a month ago. Also, there are spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but like they are old spoilers. Oops. Anyways, please enjoy the show. Mike, we are not canceling the podcast, you stupid son of a bitch.
Well, we're back. You thought we were going to be gone, but haha, we're back, suckers.
Spring break, losers.
Yeah, spring break really messed us up, but hey, we're back, at least for the next few weeks.
It should be a good time, you know. Nice to get back into the swing of things, you know, get some good content going, get some good podcast rolling. It's exciting. It's nice.
Oh, I'm excited, and we got a lot of fun things to talk about today. And, you know, other things.
Why is there a third person in the room?
I don't know why there's a third person in the room.
Welcome to the Just the Two of Us podcast.
Three. 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 Three.
Building castles in the sky. Just you and I.
Welcome to the Just the Two of Us podcast, or I guess as Mike likes to call it, Just the Two of Us with the occasional guest. I'm Al Agostino.
Finally get to do that title, and we have a very good friend of mine, Dylan. Dylan, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
This is exciting, you know. It's weird to have friends, you know.
It's weird to do this with an extra person in the room. Normally, we can't be as ourselves when we have guests around.
We can't be in the same level of degeneracy, but we're glad that we have someone that's on our same wavelength of just cringe. So it's just nice, you know. It's a good vibe, I think.
Yeah, no, totally. So, Dylan, what made you want to come on this podcast, first of all?
That's a good question. You know, podcasts are fun. It's interesting. And I always wanted to do one before. So I'm excited.
And you picked a terrible one to start with.
Hey, you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere.
You dream big, you know. You got to start at the bottom level and work your way up.
It was either this or the Amateur Historian podcast, which I don't know. Would you have been interested in that, Dylan?
You know, I'm not too in the history.
Also, you're just going to self-plug again. So,
I have to. It's on brand of me to do so.
Oh, jeez.
But a lot has happened in the past few weeks since we've last.
Yeah, I got a nay-nade by several different organizations. In fact, I got nay-nade this morning by Computer Maker HP. I was on my LinkedIn page, and I got like a DM. I was like, ooh, this is exciting. And no, it was a sponsored direct message from the Computer Maker HP. It was not a job offer.
You fell for one of those?
I fell for one of those, yeah. I'm new at this LinkedIn thing, you know. I've never really been the kind of person to properly network myself. It's one of my weak points of my several weak points. But to have that happen to me, it wasn't good, you know.
No, I know the feeling.
Terrible start to my morning. You know,
definitely.
I was so excited, and then just reality just comes and just slaps you right in the ass, just brings you back down to the rest of us, you know.
Yeah, well, you know. It's Friday. I really wanted to make sure it wasn't a good Friday for you. I did a thing.
Christian joke.
That was funny. Yeah, but no, LinkedIn's a slippery slope when it comes to those things, because normally if it says sponsored or there's another thing that it says, and it's normally just like a bot. Not a bot. It's a real person, but they just a copy and paste DM that they send to a bunch of people who are like, hey, you have some qualifications that may or may not fit this criteria.
And I'm like, no, shut up.
Yeah, but yeah, jobs. We've been through the whole job hunt with you.
Yeah.
You're still looking.
Still looking.
But hey, don't give up yet.
I have no choice. I can't give up.
You kind of can't give up.
I kind of can't give up. That's not exactly how this works.
No, it's not. But yeah, it is what it is.
Are you a working man?
Yes, I do a lot of jobs. You know, I work for Campus Recreation.
Oh, nice. Of the unknown campus that we are currently at. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, classic.
Yep. I do a lot of side jobs like construction, stuff like that, you know, and trying to make as much money as I can.
Can't really, that's pretty good. I don't have the motivation to do sort of construction. My grandfather actually does in the free time in the worst possible market, Massachusetts. You know, the rudest the rudest people in the world, Massachusetts. No, it's interesting. He does housework. That's actually how my parents met. My dad worked for my grandfather, but he does all these stupid side jobs. He's an English teacher by trade, but his side gig is home repair. So he sometimes does plumbing, sometimes does painting, sometimes does, roof work. Depends on the gig, you know. It's kind of like freelancing work for content creators in a way, only not at all.
A little bit more productive in some ways.
More so on his
side of the thing.
Different kind of productive.
Different kind of productive. I mean, you're building and fixing,
and we're creating content, quote unquote.
You know,
It's very important.
it's good to learn how to do stuff with your hands. You know, it's beneficial to be able to figure out how to, you know, fix a sink or, you know, put tile on a roof and stuff like that.
It's ironic because if I ever am in a situation where I need to do home repair, the first person I'm probably going to call is probably Mike McDonald because I have.
Thank you. My father really gave me a few traits because his dad was a kind of a carpenter man, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I know just absolutely just nothing about any sort of like home repair. Granted, I'm not exactly in a situation where I need to do home repair. You kind of, we pay money to have our living space be operational
we
and
kind
not
of really
break.
we can't put holes in the walls and stuff like that kind of in our lease.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, you can.
Well,
You put a hole through a wall.
Spackle, of course.
You can just cover it with a poster.
remember Hole in the Wall, that Cartoon Network game show that ran like a decade ago?
Yeah, I remember it was that, Destroy, Build, Destroy?
Yeah, with Andrew WK of
Do you
all
remember
people.
those shows?
Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Oh, yeah.
Andrew WK?
Do you
Party
also,
hard.
Wait, do
Yeah.
you also remember the Ghost Hunters thing that they had, like with those kids, where they went to? It was like only a 4-episode run, and they went to some haunted places, and it was like
The
scary.
fact the fact that it was only 4 episodes long probably is why I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, I remember because it kind of scared me as a kid because I was kind of a wimp when it came to horror stuff, and I was like, ooh, scary. I don't like that. And now I just literally watch horror movies for fun.
So what you're saying is that Cartoon Network kids series predicted BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Honestly, you know what? You're kind of right. It could have been a prelude to that. I don't know. Maybe one of the guys who hosted now was on it. They had like a cast of 4 kids.
4 children, and they're going to say in their contract, okay, we're going to take you to the scariest places possible
I remember they
for
went
children.
to. I remember they went to that boat. The Queen. It was Queen something. I don't know. It's in California. I
Okay.
forget. It's haunted. It's a cruise liner.
Classic.
Apparently, there's ghost children running around and stuff like that.
Not my favorite.
Yeah, everyone loves a good ghost child. Oh, dude, that stuff. Anytime children stuff and horror stuff just scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, also putting kids in potentially traumatizing situations also kind of scares me, and maybe a network executive, which probably why they pulled the show. But
Yeah, it's like that other show where they stuck kids in the middle of the desert. And
Oh,
they asked them- Kid Nation.
Kid Nation.
And they asked them to survive. Have you ever heard of Kid Nation?
I have not.
Okay, long story short, it was a. Let's set
Explain.
a scene. Let's set a scene for you. So you say you're a parent, right? And you have like a 7-year-old kid.
Which that's a big responsibility
Which is a
in
big
and of itself.
responsibility.
You want to
You-
make sure the kid is like properly taken care of and things like that.
You get the great idea to sign a contract to let your kid spend a month in the New Mexico desert running his own town. Would you do it?
Of course. Hell yeah.
I like the way you think.
I like the way you think. They're ahead of the time.
Because think about it. If you do that, you're going to make a lot of money from your kids.
Yeah, but the kids don't make anything. Their like currency is root beer.
What about the profits from the TV show?
You think the children get to have a percentage of the profits?
children,
They're kids.
The
No, no, no,
parents
no.
don't. It's not a big profit, and like the prize was only like
Like maybe like a college scholarship
it
or
was
something.
it wasn't a large sum of money.
Which maybe it was to a literal child, but
They thought it was a good idea.
yeah, apparently so.
It's kind of weird.
Not only was it weird, it's potentially child abuse, but it's fine.
Oh no, it could be borderline child abuse because they made them fight for like either extra bathrooms or like more food.
Not like fist fighting. They can't show that on TV. That's kids fighting. but
Doing challenges.
doing challenges like a game show, And there was this one like this host was like a huge schmuck. He would show up in like his little host attire and be all like, "Hey kids, I'm a big strong adult. You kids are gonna fight for all the natural resources because we're in a goddamn desert."
It teaches these kids a valuable lesson, which is survival of the fittest. I think it's important.
That show did because some of the kids dropped like flies and they left. So
Yeah, because they all thought it was stupid, and half the cast left after the second episode because they're like, "No, I don't want to be.
I don't
want to
be stuck in a desert and having other kids tell me what to do.
I just want to play video games or do child things.
Yeah.
You guys go ahead, tryhards."
Thank God that show got canceled.
In theory, yeah, it did. Yeah.
It definitely.
There's that. That's your precursor to those YouTube vlog challenge videos.
Like what, to stay in like a Walmart for 24 hours or whatever.
In theory, yes. The only difference is most of those are done by consenting adults. Maybe they're kids at heart, but at least they have
they're definitely kids at heart for some of the stuff they do. Yes.
But granted, at least they have the mental and physical fortitude to be able to actually physically take on something like this, as opposed to the literal children. Some of them are like 6, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think the youngest one was like 6 or something like that.
Yeah, you're gonna send a 6-year-old.
And the oldest one was like 13. So
6-year-old to a goddamn desert. Yeah. The cogs in your brain probably stop working when you just think of the reality.
Kid Nation.
Just why?
I don't know. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. I think all episodes are on YouTube if you have some free time this weekend.
I don't know why you would do this instead of watching something more like worth your time. You
Like
know?
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Look at that great segue.
You got me.
I got you there.
He was hosting a show on our campus broadcast station last night. It was entertainment themed. Man's had some great transitions in between
Did I have
segments.
some really good You think so?
Yeah, great transitions.
Oh, thanks.
And that was a great transition right there.
That was a great transition because I had to talk about it. And I know, Dylan, you watched it this morning too. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, before we get into it, spoilers ahead. Alan, could you put a little time thing to jump to where we stopped talking about this?
Oh, we're going to make edits now?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're making edits. We're actually going to take some time and actually make this good.
Oh, wow.
So at the bottom of your screen, you're probably going to see a little time jump to go skip
I
ahead.
can maybe even put it in the description. We'll have to see.
Do both.
Maybe.
Do both.
Maybe.
Anyways, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5.
Great show.
Twitter's going crazy.
Twitter.
Great show. You know, they really do a good job of like making it seem like the quality of the shows are so good. Each episode, it seems like a movie, like that quality. And you know, I didn't really like WandaVision that much. It had some good parts, but I feel like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is like a really good show. The casting, phenomenal. John Walker is the new Captain America. Great character.
U.S. agent.
U.S. Agent John Walker, who is no longer Captain America. Because
spoilers.
spoilers. Yeah, well, you can kind of figure that one out from the last episode if you really want to. But he kind of gets the boot by the old United States government because they're like, you literally murdered a man in the street with Captain America's shield. So that's a no-go for us, bud.
Which is not that big of an issue if you ask me.
Ooh, hot takes.
Edgy.
Hot takes
Edgy.
with you right here.
Because during his trial, he was talking about how the government like taught him how to do all these things. That's what he was trained to do. And I mean, this guy was a bad guy and he killed him. It just happened to be in front of everybody.
It's a double-edged sword, and we live in a society where people record everything.
Said the thing.
Yes.
Connect this to like a lot of the killings that's been going on in the real world as well.
Yes, everyone has a phone in their pocket and they can record. Anyone's an amateur news broadcaster nowadays. If you got a phone and you see something, you can make it news.
Shout out to All Gas No Breaks, by the way.
Oh, All Gas No Breaks.
Greatest YouTube channel of all time.
A little sidetrack there, but great YouTube channel. But I don't know, because I feel like it's yeah, you're right. He's a bad guy. Yes, he killed him, but I don't know. It's a double-edged sword for me because it's like, sure, I get where John Walker's coming from, but at the same time, there probably was a better way of going about doing it.
like, yeah, he killed
Yeah,
him.
because if you look at it, Steve Rogers was Captain America for, I guess, over 70 years technically.
And
But
it
really,
ebbs and flows
really
a little
only
bit.
like, I don't know, like maybe like 20 years, maybe even less than that. Because, you know, he was under ice for 70 years, and Avengers was like a span of like 11, 12 years. So, you know, 15 years, let's say that. And they didn't show him once like murdering someone in front of anybody. So it's kind of like that's the standard that John Walker had to be at, and he failed horribly.
I guess I gotta remember Captain America fought in World War II and probably killed some people.
There's that scene with him with the pistol.
He
you
did
know?
have a pistol. Yeah, he did have a pistol.
Granted, we don't know if he actually killed anybody or if that was just for
I mean,
magic.
he fought in one of the he's fought in the deadliest war known to human history. So I'm gonna say he
Yeah, the
he killed a
Infinity
few
War,
people.
no.
Oh yeah, the Infinity War. Yeah, he killed some aliens. Does that count? Is that bad?
You know that's actually kind
Is
of
Black
interesting.
Widow gonna be recording him on her cell phone?
No, probably not. That's actually kind of an interesting kind of fine line, you know.
Is
either-
human life more important than alien life?
That's actually the plot of Overwatch. Only difference is instead of aliens, it's robots. Because in this later future of the video game Overwatch, it's basically like, if you don't know, it's like a comic book future. Characters get like superpowers because technology has kind of advanced that far, and robots have become sentient in a way. So a lot of them have personalities, but at the same time, it's like, do the lives of robots actually
Isn't that just
exist?
Isn't that just the plot of Detroit Become Human too?
In theory, yes.
Yes, because they're cyborgs who kind of rise up against their creators. Who
12 stab wounds, or what is it? 21 stab wounds.
Yes.
What was the meme?
I don't know. Does he hit like a fish or something like that?
No, he slams a desk something, and it's like the interrogation scene.
Oh yeah, wait, that scene. Yeah, have you ever played that game?
Overwatch?
No, Detroit Become Human.
I've not.
Okay, you would like. You got a PlayStation. I would highly recommend getting it. It's a good story game.
Good memes in there too.
I got good memes. Of course, the PlayStation button, the one where the guy who played Connor
Yep.
went up to and he pushed the circle one, then everyone adds like whatever, like doing homework or taking a test and then like playing video games for 5 hours, and it's that one.
Yep.
It's a bad example, but it's just best one I can think off the top of my head right now.
Relevant when considering, topic of wasting time with video games and things like that. But yeah, so Overwatch, and that whole plot line, it's interesting. It actually kind of treads very similar plot lines, you know? Does the existence of a sentient robot, does it have the same value of a life as a human? And it's like this whole big allegory. I think the whole thing is just like a huge, just kind of like a giant metaphor for racism.
This
secretly.
show is definitely touching on top issues that we see today, and I definitely appreciate that, especially for a Marvel property to go into something like this.
I appreciate that they have the balls to take it head on, you know?
Oh, I love it because this show got half the budget WandaVision did, and it's still managing to make a bigger impact, I feel like, socially than what WandaVision did.
But WandaVision also wasn't really supposed to make a social impact too, you know? Just get the thematics of the plot of the show, you know? It's different in a way.
I really like how they progressed Bucky's and Sam's relationship throughout the series so far. You know, in this newest episode, you see them how they kind of like come together at the end after, you know, being frenemies, I guess you could call that.
Friendly adversaries or something like that.
Yeah, which I think is really cool because they make a good team.
Also considering the fact that Bucky kind of got dicked over in the mainline MCU because he could have had a much stronger character arc, but then they decided no.
I like what they're doing with his character now, though.
Now he's
like making him go through his trauma in his past and having to come to terms with it. It's a really interesting thing which you would not get in a movie.
It's also kind of interesting they're doing this now. You know, I think it actually kind of fits more to do it after Cap's, you know, death, quote unquote.
If there is a Cap death.
Oh, he's not dead.
I did.
Here's my theory, okay? You know, so this takes place a couple months after the blip, right?
It takes place, I think, about 8 months after the blip.
Okay. So I think that Captain America just went back to his timeline and is living the rest of his life with Peggy.
That's definitely a running. It's either he's on the moon.
Because if you look at it, the black Captain America who was like in prison for 30 years, he's still alive and he's probably the same exact age as Steve.
Yeah, probably. I mean, around there. I mean, because he fought in the Korean War, so that's what, 6 years after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like 6 years after World War II. So yeah, he definitely could have. They definitely crossed paths. Considering he also was one of the first people to get the serum after Captain America. So. Mm-hmm. We'll have to see. Well, I mean, next week's finale I don't think we're going to see too many big reveals of people. I think we're just going to get the final climactic battle of the Flag Smashers and the Falcon. Oh, well, if the Falcon's even the Falcon anymore.
Yeah, he could be the new Captain America.
I really hope so, because one more thing so we can move off this topic. I don't want to make this too long, but the box. What's in the box that Bucky brought back from Wakanda?
What's in the box?
Could be a couple things. You know, most likely it's probably a new suit, like a Captain America / like Falcon crossover suit, or it could be a suit for the black Captain America. Maybe you give it to him. It probably isn't, but it could be.
Could be the comic accurate costume for Isaiah Bradley. So
yeah, and I don't know. You know, it could be a lot of things, but most likely it's probably just his new suit.
Yeah, probably is. I mean,
would be a really nice suit with Wakandan tech and shit. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it is Wakandan tech. Oh, I don't know much about if that's tied into comics in any way, shape, or form. If his suit was made with Wakandan tech,
you never know. But if they made Iron Man's, I don't see why. Or Iron Man's was utilizing similar tech. You know?
Yeah, well, that's because his father.
Yeah, true. Also, if you remember at the end of the original Black Panther, the whole gimmick was the fact that, you know, it's like, hey, we're going to be more recognizable by the rest of the world. It isn't unlikely that they would do something like this.
No, it is. It definitely isn't unlikely that they're out there now.
Definitely.
I guess we'll just have to see next Friday.
Now, here's the real question. We know there's, you know, that they have this sort of replica kind of super serum to try to make more Captain Americas. Do you think there is a possibility that they made somewhat of another Hulk? Because remember, super serum was kind of the leading cause of radiation plus super serum gives angry green man.
We got to remember Abomination's still out there in the MCU, and I think they kind of teased the Thunderbolts today, and Abomination's on that team.
Ooh,
so I think that could happen.
I don't know, because I know they're not going to make a standalone Hulk movie because they don't own the rights to him. So I don't know if they would go all the way as to making like serums for new Hulks and stuff. They can't even put him in another movie.
Or serums for insert angry green thing here or angry thing here, you know?
They are doing a She-Hulk series, so maybe that could tie into that more, but that's not coming out.
I saw Alison Brie might be the She-Hulk in that series.
Didn't they announce this
That's a really
Hold
good
on.
casting.
I think they announced the She-Hulk. Actually, hold on. Let me just
Mike McDonald whipping out the classic cell phone. Would it be just the two of us episode without it?
let me see. Let's see who it is. Yeah, I got nothing.
Maybe it's just a fan.
Maybe
casting.
you know what? They showed the director. I think they showed who the director was going to be, but that's not coming out till next year or 2023,
Something like that, I think.
They're trying to get done their what TV shows they have scheduled now, which is what Hawkeye, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is basically going to be done. WandaVision is done.
They have other things in the pipeline too. I know they're working on a Blades series of some kind.
I think that's a movie.
Or
That's
a
just a
movie of some
movie.
kind. Yep. Obviously, they were teasing some kind of Fantastic Four, which
Oh well, that's official. It's happening. It's just when's
When,
it
yes.
happening and who.
I know it's a meme, but I'm really hoping for John Krasinski. Man, he would be so good as a fan.
Honestly, I think I would be more disappointed if it's not John Krasinski.
I mean, if it's not John Krasinski, I'm
It
not
has to
going
be
to be.
someone really good. We were having this conversation the other day, more
Yeah,
about
we were.
Doctor Doom. Actually,
Yeah, yeah.
I was suggesting Ben Mendelsohn, but he's already in it. I was like, well, who was it? Who was it that I said that you really liked?
The guy who played Voldemort.
Oh, Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he would have been good. I was also saying the guy who Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones.
that's also a good one.
I don't know.
My thing is this: if they were to do a Fantastic Four movie, would they even want to have Doctor Doom be the main villain? Maybe for the first movie to have someone be different.
Yeah, I don't think they would have Doctor Doom because he was the villain in the last Fantastic Four, and we all know how that turned out.
Also, Doctor Doom was a kind of villain where you could possibly, I think they said they were saying toying with the idea of essentially a Earth threat and then a galactic level threat.
Yeah,
the big Earth baddie could have been like a Doctor Doom, and then your space baddie could have been something like, I don't know, like not like a Galactus, but like a Galactus level character of some kind. You know,
We're definitely thinking probably that's what I heard. That's what Marvel wants to go for. They want to go for that split Earth threat versus universe threat, and I think they want to do Galactus. So I don't know about Doctor Doom because I feel like there's a lot of characters in the MCU that they could definitely throw in as an Earth threat, but Doctor Doom would probably make the most sense.
I definitely think
Considering,
so, yeah. It's either between Galactus or Kang the Conqueror.
Okay.
Or Kang the Conqueror, excuse me.
but the thing is, Falcon and the Winter Soldier they set up a little line they threw in there, said most political borders in these smaller like your Eastern European nations have been like destroyed, like countries have moved in and taken over, so that since Doctor Doom's from Latvia or whatever, it could set up the fact that Doctor Doom becomes this big powerful like warlord person
kind,
of some like Eastern European country, and then he could be some big threat.
That is true.
Because if they
That is true.
already set this idea up like, oh, the world's pretty much in shambles, alliances aren't who they are anymore, like the whole world's different. So they could totally set up Doctor Doom kind of coming in there and being like, I'm uniting all these nations and we're gonna take on.
Now-
Did I just give Disney an idea? Maybe.
Kevin, where are you,
Kevin,
buddy?
give me a call. Just call me
Kevin.
up right there.
Speaking of like directors, so that the Snyder cuts out, and have you guys seen the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Believe
Yeah,
me.
believe me.
With the
I believe
history.
me.
So Margot Robbie teased that they have a 20-hour cut that they might release of footage.
Funny, I saw this too, and look, I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The movie's long as it is, and I feel like for the most part, there's a lot of filler in it. I love the movie still, but like a 20-hour cut,
I feel like that movie would not work with an extended cut.
it's got to be
the
a lot
the
of
cut it already has is already kind of stretching it, I think, you know?
It's a little long, but I like it. But the thing is it just going to be like 18 hours of just extra feet shots by Quentin Tarantino?
Wouldn't hold it against him, you know? Man's a artiste, if you will.
He's got an artiste, and he loves his feet. Which, hey, I respect it. If he wants to show off feet in movies, he can go right ahead. Not my thing. Definitely not my thing. I'm gonna make that clear. But
You had to clarify that one, bud.
it's someone's thing. Are you a foot fetish guy, Dylan?
I am not.
I don't think that's what you were expecting to ask him on a date like this,
Look,
you know?
we never had someone on. I don't know how we do the process of it. Like, we're kind of interviewing in a sense. No, sorry.
we're not.
I gotta get
No,
off
we're-
the mindset of
Yeah,
broadcast news reporting for a second.
Hold on a second. You know, your work mic and casual mic are kind of blending in together, you know? Put away Michael McDonald and just whip out the mic, you know? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, here we are. I'm back. Sorry about that. I know you're not a foot fetish guy.
It's okay. It's okay.
Everybody's got their own taste, you know, different strokes for different folks, as they say.
Wow.
That's
Very wise.
Very wise. Yeah.
Very wise.
Also, could be a euphemism in some circles too.
In some circles.
Yes. Going back to Fantastic Four. Here's my theory for the first Fantastic Four movie. Okay, it actually sets up very perfectly in the MCU. Gentlemen know of a character called the Super Skrull.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, have him be the main bad guy because in many different iterations, the Super Skrull actually has essentially all 4 of the same powers. He can harden his body like the Thing, manipulate fire, turn invisible and release energy, and also mold his limbs into various different shapes.
Well, they're having the Secret Invasion series come out before, so they could definitely definitely introduce them.
And we already know Skrulls exist in the MCU, so it wouldn't exactly be out of the question to potentially have a Super Skrull show up.
I know that they want to try to bring back Robert Downey Jr. They'd be like a cameo in Fantastic Four. So, because like, who's the guy who leads the Fantastic Four that's really smart?
Reed Richards, yeah.
They want both of them to like interact and meet each other.
Probably, yeah. Or have some kind of potential flashback of some kind would be nice, yeah.
They definitely could have crossed paths in MCU past. So, I mean, they could always... Also, with the whole Robert Downey Jr. thing, apparently he might come back as like a hologram in the Ironheart TV series.
Yeah, he might be like the new Jarvis.
Yeah, which I wouldn't mind if he was like,
No, I mean, his death is so like impactful and like you got to keep him dead. It's like...
Well, that definitely would keep him dead.
that would keep him dead.
Yeah.
Just using his voice as an AI is... It's again, another...
Not a fan.
Yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I don't know how I would feel about it because I feel like it's hard enough watching old movies with him and knowing what his fate becomes. It's a great ending and all, but like
and it's fine. We already have another Iron Man. His name is Peter Parker. It's fine.
Oh, you're right though.
Oh. Netflix and Sony, new deal with each other. For 4 years, they're going to be streaming all the Sony movies like Spider-Man's and Jumanji.
Are they?
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Cool, but also confusing at the same time, especially considering how the Spider-Man rights are just in a complete shambles.
If I don't have to buy a Sony Plus, I'm good with that. Let them put them on Netflix so I could actually use it.
Yeah, fair enough. Some of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
You know, May 4th coming up. Bad Batch.
We got the Bad Batch. This is why I brought him on here so we could talk about Star Wars.
Yeah. Honestly, that type of sell too. That's like a week before the semester ends.
It's on finals week,
so you could finish up your finals and
it's
then
a 70-minute episode for the debut.
You know, I noticed that so for the Bad Batch, one of the characters is not in any of the trailers. I don't know. It's like Crosshair. So he might have turned with the. You know,
I definitely see it. He definitely seems like his ideas would lie more with imperialist ideals.
Yeah.
Ooh, but I feel like you gotta have that. You gotta have, if this is gonna be a multi-season thing, you gotta have the season 1 villain be basically like someone impactful like that. So
have you seen Rebels?
Yeah, I've seen Rebels.
You know how when they meet up with the Rex with the 2 other troopers, what were their names?
Gregor and Wolf.
Yeah, they in Clone Wars they showed Gregor dying, but he never actually died. He like exploded. So maybe in this series they'll show how Rex meets up with Gregor and Wolf again.
I mean, Rex was seen in the last trailer, so definitely I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case because, like you said, Echo, everyone thought he died, but you didn't see a body, and then he came back.
Exactly. Yep.
Is this like a kids animated series, or is it more? Are they teetering towards the PG-13 rating on this one?
I want to. It looks pretty dark. It's definitely gonna be a kids. It's definitely gonna be for kids, but
I feel like it's for kids, but also like adults too.
Oh, so kind of like how the original Clone Wars series was.
It's like the last arc of season 7 of the Clone Wars.
Okay.
How it's kind of dark, but also for kids.
it's definitely. I think this is definitely just like a way to have Clone Wars have a season 8 to follow up on all the open storylines between that and Rebels. Because I mean, this takes place immediately after Order 66. Like, I mean, like this show will pick up right then and there. So like, it's definitely gonna have. I think we're gonna see some Jedi. I think we're gonna see some Inquisitors. Maybe
Darth Vader too.
we're definitely gonna see. I would think we would.
Maybe there'll be a turmoil where he's like going back to the light and dark side, and it's like trying to figure himself out.
I think we could definitely see a lot of interesting things because this is a time period in Star Wars that there's 19 years. There's really not much known about in the lore and the canon, minus like legend stuff.
Rest in peace.
But this is a time that I've been wanting to see for a long time because I've been wanting to see how the clone troopers get phased out, how the Empire kind of takes over the galaxy after the Clone Wars. Like, it's something that I've always been interested in, and I think we're definitely going to see it. From what it seems, it's going to be a lot of that. We're flying around different planets, but the Empire's following us.
Are we predicting an Obi-Wan cameo of some kind?
I would say, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but I would say yes. It would be the most likely, because if Rex comes back, but then again, Rex doesn't know Obi-Wan's alive, so.
There's definitely going to be a Ahsoka cameo, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like if there's Rex, like, we don't know what happens between, Ahsoka and Rex's thing at the end of season 7 to Rebels. So yeah, we might see Ahsoka.
And speaking of Ahsoka, the new Ahsoka series is going to be really good too.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
It's Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, and Ezra too. But I saw they wanted Thrawn to be the actor
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. Apparently, he said in an interview he's not interested in being painted blue. But then again, he could also throw around that
if he's getting all that money, he's going to do it.
He would he would be potentially really good. I finally finished the Thrawn trilogy, like the actual comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's real good.
Yeah, I know it's really good.
It's real good.
I mean, who else could play Thrawn? Because everyone's like Benedict Cumberbatch.
I mean, I did see that Robert Downey said he'd want to do it.
You see, that would be hard for me because I feel like combining your Marvel and Star Wars property, it's just
very slippery
it's a very
slope.
weird thing.
Well, it's already going to happen because Luke Skywalker is going to be Sebastian.
Oh wow. No, you're really throwing that out. That's another hot take.
100%. He said he'd do it if Mark Hamill said that he could pass it down, and he said that he wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't mind it. They're very similar looking men, but
they also kind of sound the same too. Like I feel like he'd be perfect for the role.
they do have very similar vocal inflections.
I mean, yeah, they are very similar, and I just don't know because like I grew up with Luke Skywalker and I know him as Mark Hamill, and like I would be cool with seeing Sebastian Stan, sure, do a few things here and there, but if they decide to then bring Sebastian Stan back to play Luke Skywalker and everything, and that's just gonna throw me because especially if it ties into like right after Return of the Jedi, or like if they try to go back and do some stuff during the Galactic Civil War, and I'm just like, that would have been Mark Hamill. It's not, it's not Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
I know they're gonna do a Luke series eventually.
I mean, look, they're doing a Book of Boba Fett series. I won't be surprised. And they did a solo movie. I won't be surprised if we go back and try to get other characters from the lore.
I have a feeling what they might also do is do maybe more side characters, and then you know how Hulk had his like character arc in the MCU. He wasn't the main character, but he was such a supporting character in all these other different movies, and his arc was through all those different films. They could do something like that with like a Skywalker, you know?
I think it would be interesting to do something. Yeah, when you put it like that, it definitely seems interesting.
Or maybe some of the other maybe lesser known Jedi or Jedi in training, you know? Maybe you can even tie it in with the sequel trilogy if you really wanted to too.
You know, it would be cool for a Luke series to talk about how he makes the new Jedi Order and how it like falls apart.
That would be cool. That would be interesting. But you could bring Mark Hamill back now if you really wanted to. If you wanted,
Would
to do
also
something
fix
like
a lot of the flaws in Kylo Ren's character.
Well,
they did that too, but you know.
The thing is, they apparently, this is a rumor. This isn't true. They want to split up the sequel trilogy into its own timeline, essentially making the last 3 movies legends, and then having Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni fix it to make it make sense.
Yeah, and Jon Favreau and Filoni both talked to George Lucas still, so he'd actually have a role in this new trilogy if they decide to do that.
But the question is this, and obviously this is a great idea on theory, you know? And also there's a million other fan scripts that are just leagues better than what was offered in the sequel trilogy, but that sequel trilogy made a lot of money. Would they want to make something that made this just buckets upon buckets of money and just say, nope, not canon anymore? Would they take the risk?
It would bring
be
the
a
fan
risk.
No, it would bring the fan base back together probably, because then you could say, look, people who like the sequel trilogy, it's still here. And then brings back the fans who didn't like the sequel trilogy. Be like, look, it's Legends. It doesn't tie into what our version of our Star Wars Skywalker saga would be. That's just like some other directors who just had an idea. We gave them the money. They made it.
Yeah, because Filoni's a genius. He should be in charge of all the Star Wars production.
Yeah, I mean, him and Jon Favreau have really done.
Throw Taika Waititi in there too, for God's sake.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they all. Anyone who's been like The Mandalorian was such a risk because coming off the heels of the flop of Solo and then the controversy of The Last Jedi, you know, The Mandalorian was coming out, what, 4 months before, I don't know, 3 months before Rise of Skywalker came out. And Rise of Skywalker was already getting heat with Palpatine coming back and just the
That got awful
production
ending.
news about it, you know, basically being
Marvel
awful.
movie.
Yeah, we
we
already said the fact that Skywalker is literally a Marvel movie. Do you also think the ending sequence of that movie is just them trying to do their own endgame thing, but it doesn't work because
You know-
it's warfare and not superheroes?
I was thinking about it. I feel like I could have came up with a better ending. When Rey and Palpatine were fighting and her Force ghosts were talking to her, what they should have done was each of the Force ghosts should have appeared behind her and started fighting all of Palpatine's his worshippers all around him. That would have been sick.
They actually brought in everyone on set to do that. Like they brought in all the actors that
Even
would have
Hayden?
came as Force Ghosts.
Even
Even Hayden
Hayden?
Christensen. Yeah. They brought back Anakin Skywalker and then they just used his voice.
Yeah.
Well, and then they said, I forget the reason. It was some stupid reason. They were like, it wouldn't make sense. It would take everyone out of the movie or something like that. It was like, I don't think it would. Honestly, it probably would have made that movie just a little bit more tolerable.
Yeah, because I mean, like, the characters were horrible. Like, Finn, the character was so promising. They didn't do anything with it. Rose, worst character in Star Wars history, if you ask me.
Not the actress, but the character. She was written very poorly.
I respectfully disagree because Captain Phasma exists.
See, I forgot about her.
Phasma was also very bad.
They got a good actress in Gwendolyn Christie to do Phasma, and I'm like, oh, coming off of Game of Thrones, her characters would be perfect for her. And then it's like,
they said no.
you want to die in a trash compactor, and then they like, just kidding, she's back. Oh, you want to die in a fire? Here you go. You get whacked with a baseball bat by Finn.
God, these movies are just such.
That was Finn's big character arc. He fought his demons. Oh wait, he did that in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, and then, you know, it made it seem like Finn and Rey had a crush on each other in the first movie.
I'm gonna get political here for a second.
Uh huh.
Disney didn't want they didn't want Finn and Rey to be together
Why?
because Chinese audiences wouldn't approve that.
Oh, damn. That's stupid.
Well, just saying.
Ooh,
And then-
that's interesting.
Rey and Kylo start kissing at the end.
Makes no sense. This man's been trying to kill you for the past God knows how many years, you know, throughout the galaxy, and you're like, yeah, let me kiss you. We've had this conversation before.
We've had this conversation on
Multiple
several different, on
times.
multiple different occasions. My theory, or not even theory, my complete rewrite of the whole thing is, first of all, let's make Finn the actual main character of the trilogy. Make Rey more of a side character. That way, God forbid, she turns into a Mary Sue. She doesn't have all the spotlight.
If you look like at the last movie, like, okay, in the first trilogy, episode 4, 5, and 6, the Han Solo, Leia, and Luke, they were always like the team. They never really got like yelled at each other and bickered that much. Rey, Finn, and Poe, all I did in the last movie was bitch and complain.
They
Yeah,
weren't
but-
even together as a team until the last movie.
It was like the Avengers, actually. Now they just get
You know, there's a YouTube video that I'm gonna send you guys. It's a guy who rewrites the whole.
Oh, I've seen those videos. Yeah.
He rewrote the whole sequel trilogy, but he kept the characters the same. But it's just so much better. Hold on, he makes Grand Admiral Thrawn the main bad guy, which I'm like, cool.
That would have been nice. You know.
Would he have been alive though?
Well, look, if he's alive now, they can definitely make it alive. Then he wouldn't be that old.
It wouldn't be that far of a stretch, you know, and also it makes it different, you know. Some diehard Star Wars fans actually think Grand Admiral Thrawn is like a more compelling villain antagonist than you like a Darth Vader type.
Because he's not tied to the Force or anything like that. He's a military tactician. He will get what his job done by any means necessary. Here,
yeah, you
Joel.
know who else isn't tied to
I
the Force?
texted it to you. It's 2 hours, but I definitely give it a listen to. Yeah.
It's like, essentially, you know who else isn't tied to the Force? Finn. Have him be the main protagonist. He isn't actually Force sensitive. There's your underdog story right there. He's like a Jedi who can't use the Force, or like maybe like a Force, or like maybe like a.
He's like the guy from Rogue One, the Chinese dude.
Yeah, he's in tune with the Force. He's just not Force sensitive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, see, they had a cool idea to show an ex-stormtrooper who gets awakened from his brainwashed state to be like, what have I done? You know, that's such a cool concept.
And they ruined it by having him scream Ray for 3 movies.
They set it up so well in The Force Awakens. I will give The Force Awakens, it set up a lot of interesting points to go through.
It did. Yeah.
LinkedIn. That never mind. Back to
Always
this.
comes back.
I always come back to LinkedIn.
You know what series is going down the drain right now, and I really hope this movie brings it back. Indiana Jones 5.
Do you know Mads Mikkelsen is going to be in that movie now?
Really?
That was announced just like yesterday. Yeah.
Well, can we also just take a second to realize Harrison Ford is like in his 80s is coming back to play Indiana Jones?
Shia LaBeouf was. Do you think he was that bad? In
Shia LaBeouf wasn't the problem with the
Shia
fourth
LaBeouf
movie.
wasn't the problem with Kingdom of the Crystal
I
Skull.
think they should bring him back.
I'm totally like okay with like, oh, they're kind of teasing Shia LaBeouf's going to be the new Indiana Jones. You know, it's his son. It makes sense. It would be chronically, it would follow a good story structure. So
But granted, I've noticed the Indiana Jones movies like to do these things where they kind of almost keep each one like as his own kind of standalone thing. You know, Crystal Skull was the only one that actually I think brought back existing characters, and technically Marion was the only one.
technically, Temple of Doom was a prequel to Raiders.
So not the
So
same. Cast.
not the same cast. You can get away with that.
The third one,
The third one brought back some familiar faces, but again, it's still essentially its own standalone movie because you're looking for an item or an artifact that doesn't tie into the thing.
I also really hope when Harrison Ford dies that they don't do like another Indiana Jones series.
You see, Hollywood, that's all they want to do now is just remake stuff from the 80s and 90s.
Hollywood is dead. You know, one of the last great actors alive is Clint Eastwood, and he's still making movies. He's coming out with a new movie. Like, we don't have like those, we don't have actors anymore who are, you know, just tough and, you know, gritty.
well, we do. They're just in worse movies.
Yeah, they're just not in good movies. Like Wyatt Russell, for example. He could play a good one.
Hollywood's just remaking everything, and they're not coming out with new ideas anymore.
And the problem is the ideas are still there. They're just refusing to take a chance on them.
Yeah, because they know what makes money. They look at it's
the
kind of
it's the return on investment model. You know.
I mean, everyone's like, I want to make Marvel money, and everyone's like, well, we gotta do Marvel things. But like, Marvel's been doing this for over 10 years now, and they didn't start off being the cash cow that they were today. Like, if you go back to 2008 when Iron Man came out,
That was essentially like a fluke. Iron Man wasn't exactly the biggest character. He's no Spider-Man, you know. Obviously, he's probably one of the, if not maybe the biggest superhero in the world right now because of the MCU. But back then, no, God no.
Iron Man was coming off the heels of a lackluster Spider-Man 3, where it's like, all right, superhero movies kind of are getting boring.
Also, the X-Men Last Stand
Yeah,
too.
X-Men, like a lot of those, like all those, they just ended and they were like, well, this is just another superhero movie with a character that at the time no one really knew, cared about, or really,
This is also the same year The Dark Knight came out too.
and everyone was already on the hypes of that because Christopher Nolan was
Christopher Nolan.
chef's kiss.
Dark Knight series, so good, so good.
Chef's kiss.
So
It's
good.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
I was just watching scenes last night a bit.
So in that series, what's the last one called?
Dark Knight Rises.
Does Batman actually die?
I believe that's one of those supposed to be open to interpretations kind of thing. Maybe it might be. I think maybe my theory to the whole thing is that Bruce Wayne's still alive. Batman is dead.
That's because I think they were going to have Robin take the mantle of what Batman was, and
You know, they should still make a movie on that. The guy who,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt probably. He was good in that movie.
Yeah.
That movie had a lot of Dark Knight Rises had a lot of problems. Unfortunately, a lot of them I think were unfortunately caused by the tragic passing of
because
Heath Ledger.
they weren't supposed to make a third movie because what's the director's name? Christopher Nolan. That was his first. I believe that's his first trilogy he's ever made.
Yeah.
He only wanted to make I think he only wanted to make one movie to begin with.
well, that's normally how he's a one guy director. Like he likes it open and shut.
And I believe, who played Joker again?
Heath Ledger.
Ledger. I believe they wanted him to be in the third movie too.
Probably Joker and Bane in the same movie together would have fixed probably surprisingly a lot of those not only plot holes. It would have made things just a bit more. I don't know. It would make the chaos I think make a bit more sense too at the same time because you can Joker into this whole because the Joker in the Dark Knight series was a very kind of analytical political kind of type. You know, really just trying to mess with just the status quo of just how people interact with each other, especially in like a large city like Gotham. It was a nice kind of I don't know parallel to the real world, especially at that time.
Definitely, I think he definitely wanted the Joker to be a big player in the final film.
Definitely, I think.
I saw that the new Batman movie with Robert Patterson. That's gonna be in Earth 2, the the timeline for that.
Which I think the Flashpoint movie is going to retcon or connect all these different film franchises in the DC right now.
They might even go so far as to take all the crappy CW series and throw them in there too.
They already thrown them in there because in the Flash TV series, they've already had Ezra Miller's Flash appear to Barry Allen.
Oh, look,
And that Barry Allen.
Well, didn't the actor for the Flash TV series get fired?
No, someone else on the crew did. One of his side blokes or whatever.
Are they bringing back the Punisher?
that's a great question.
That's a Marvel question.
I wish I knew the answer. I would like them to.
Apparently,
But,
Matt Murdock, Daredevil, is going to be back in the next Spider-Man movie.
which, if that's a thing, I'm going to cry because Daredevil is chef's
that
kiss.
was a good show.
The new Spider-Man movie is going to be really good. They're bringing back a lot of old characters like Green Goblin, Tobey Maguire.
I'm not official.
No, it's okay. Andrew Garfield's stunt double from his Spider-Man series was on set for the new Spider-Man movie. Why would he be there?
Well, that's Andrew Garfield's not Tobey Maguire though, Dylan.
Granted, at the same time, it also asks a lot of questions. You know, remember when we all thought that basically this whole thing was a setup for the Spider-Man back when whoever the guy who showed up in WandaVision playing the Quicksilver?
Yeah, Pietro.
Yeah.
Not Pietro, as some call him.
Basically, yes. And we all thought it was like, oh my God, it's the
It's the
X-Men
X-Men.
one. Oh, are these movies now technically canon?
And then it was like, no, it was for a dick joke.
And they're like, you know what? That's cruel, but I get it.
It was such a good like mislead, and I loved it so much.
The internet was pissed, but then I'm like, you know, it's not that bad.
Especially Pulp, and he's saying, "Oh, there's an actor in the final episode that I've been dying to act with," and it was just himself. And I'm like, that's such a great thing because I hated it, but at the same time, I was like, I respect it because I was like, that was funny because it got me excited for nothing,
Yeah.
and I believed him.
Mm-hmm. I thought it would have been some sort of X-Men. I really did.
I was thinking more along the lines of Doctor Strange, but
Yeah.
yeah. Well, hey, that movie just finished filming yesterday. Actually,
I'm sure Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man 3 might have a lot of crossover, at least in terms of its
Doctor
thematics.
Strange is in Spider-Man 3, which is confirmed.
Yeah.
He's definitely there's going to be some tie-ins.
Maybe what's her name? The witch. What's
Scarlet Witch,
She might be in it then too.
It's possible, yeah.
possible.
She might be one of the main like villains now.
She's definitely going to be in the Doctor Strange movie for sure. As for what she is gonna be, whether it's good or bad, I don't know.
Or maybe morally gray, and Doctor Strange is trying to like veer her towards the side of good, you know? Very
mean,
Star Warsy.
if anyone can do it, Wanda's now. It's already confirmed that she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, who is Doctor Strange. So
it would not be easy.
it would not be easy for Doctor Strange, but if he could take on Dormammu, which then again he really didn't take on because he just kind of reversed time. He kind of cheated.
He has the stone again, right?
No, the stones are gone.
The stones are gone.
At least in this timeline.
Unless something happens in the next couple iterations of TV shows or movies, because I don't.
Or maybe Doctor Strange just maybe.
Sorry, you can go.
I was gonna say it's like they could do the thing where maybe the stones are gone, but the essence, the power of the stones are still there. Maybe Doctor Strange, being the Sorcerer Supreme, can use the Time Stone's abilities, assuming in this point he's powerful enough to do such a thing.
Yeah, you know, I love Thanos as a character, but I feel like they could have waited till like Phase 4 for his big fight. I don't know. You know, I feel like because he's in the comics, he's such a powerful character, and I feel like they kind of killed him off too early.
Well, you think they kind of like nerfed him in a bit. Well, you could say the same about Hulk. You know.
True. You know, Hulk is supposed to get stronger once he like gets hit and gets injured. So I don't understand how he lost so easily against Thanos.
I everybody was thinking Infinity War was going to be the time we see Worldbreaker Hulk show up in the MCU, which that would have been insane. Granted, if Worldbreaker Hulk showed up, that probably would have been over at that point.
Yeah,
probably,
definitely would have been.
Probably why he was not in the MCU to begin with.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with Professor Hulk. Everybody hates him, and I kind of get why, but I kind of like the best of both worlds theory.
And you know, they really ruined Mark Ruffalo and Scarlett Johansson's like romance in the series. You know.
Granted, I didn't really like it.
I didn't really care. A lot of people wanted Captain America, Scarlett Johansson.
Captain America, I would have been good too, but he literally kissed his niece. If you think about it.
Yeah, he was also simping over a girl who was at this time dead. So
Yeah,
he was, even though he kissed his niece, you're right. But hey,
Different strokes for different folks.
He wasn't thinking about. Well, then again, did we know that was his niece? Though?
No.
It's cool that she's in the new series, though.
They also pulled the Star Wars, kind of. In a way. In a way, yeah.
Well, George Lucas did that. He didn't know if they were going to be siblings or not.
That was,
so.
I guess, that was an accidental retcon, but yeah.
Yeah. Hey, just don't think about it. Just don't think about that.
Yeah, well, you kind of have to a little bit. It was a plot point in the first movie, so yeah. Interesting to think about, though.
I mean, yeah, movies like that, movies in a franchise, yeah, especially Marvel. You know, I don't know how long they think of stuff ahead.
Apparently, they at least they don't have the scripts, but they at least have like a rough timeline of events that they want to cover.
Yeah,
which is, I would imagine, what they want to do. You know, they kind of do it just like comics, basically.
So for Phase 4, who are they going to kill off? So I know Thor's not going to be in any more movies other than Phase 4.
At least, well, maybe if all the people to extend remember, any one of these actors can just go ahead and just take their contracts and extend them at any time.
Yeah.
So we can't use contracts as a way to say, okay, these people are going to die. You know.
Well, I know that they're bringing back that chick in the new Thor movie.
Oh yeah, Natalie Portman's character.
So
after
she's
they,
gonna be the new
yeah,
Thor,
after they brutally butchered her in the first two movies.
Taika Waititi could save the Thor franchise. I think he could save.
Granted, you also have to remember the original pre-Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige was like apparently a huge kind of sexist and didn't like the fact that she was taking almost center stage in these movies.
Yeah. You know, also Ant-Man. I don't know if there'll be more Ant-Man movies after.
There is one more this time around, which they're introducing Kang the Conqueror apparently.
Oh.
Which actually that's confirmed. Wait, they are introducing Kang the Conqueror. Going back a couple minutes ago, they are doing that. So Kang the
they
Conqueror
are.
is going to be the main villain of Ant-Man Quantum Realm.
Well, in that case, if he's maybe, I don't know too much about his lore. Either he's going to be the main villain or one of his subordinates is going to be the main villain, and it's going to be set up. Aha! Here's your big space villain. Here's your Thanos 2. You know.
Yeah.
They could pull it off.
Switching over to the DC real quick, something I'm really looking forward to is Black Adam with Dwayne Johnson.
I'm not sure how that movie will be. It seems cool. It's interesting that Black Adam of all villains is the one to get the movie.
You know, I like it because this is the first time The Rock is in a villain role. Usually he's a hero.
He's usually also just Dwayne Johnson, but you know.
So it'll be cool to see how he does.
Wait, has The Rock been a villain before?
No, I don't think so.
Doom? Was he kind of like a bad guy in Doom?
He was the Doom Slayer. So
Was he the Doom Slayer? I thought he was like a soldier who kind of was like bad.
morally gray, but that's demons. That's demons. So it's kind of a different
I
thing.
feel like there's been a time when The Rock's been a bad guy.
What is it? Scorpion King. Scorpion King.
Scorpion King.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. Brendan Fraser. What's he doing?
I saw a tweet that was like, society if Brendan Fraser hadn't been blacklisted from Hollywood. He needs to come back.
I mean,
he should be in the MCU for God's sake.
Wait, isn't he coming back though? I heard he's doing something.
Yeah, after people on Reddit were like clamoring for him to be in more movies.
He's not a bad actor.
He was a good actor. Yeah.
I like the first couple. I like the Mummy movies. Like, I mean, they're
Brendan Fraser should be
good.
in the MCU for God's sake.
Make Brendan Fraser.
I don't know what he would be.
I don't know what he would
Make
be.
him Kang the Conqueror. No.
Make him Doctor Doom.
That probably would not be.
That definitely wouldn't be. That would be funny.
He could be King. He could be King. Make him King the Conqueror. Why not? He's in a space.
They could find something for Brendan Fraser.
He has the range. You know.
Yeah.
A Journey to the Center of the Earth. A great movie.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a movie, isn't it? And The Rock then did the sequel, Journey to the Mysterious Island.
That guy is a good actor though, and who was in the first one.
Yeah. Brendan Fraser for the
That was a very interesting movie. I actually remember seeing that one in the theaters. I was very confused. I thought it looked cool, but the storyline just did not make sense at all.
dinosaurs.
There was like dinosaurs at the center of the earth, and also it was setting up all these like big just CGI just kind of explosion things. And
It was a much more simpler time back then in the year 2006.
Was it 2006? I know it came before Avatar.
Yeah,
but it was probably very CGI explosion-y, you know?
Yeah, because they were in the center of the earth.
Avatar. I know didn't they just finish filming the next 3 movies?
I don't know.
At least writing. They're done writing them.
Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a gamble. Because I mean, like, you know, if they
It's not made for our audience. It's made for overseas people.
oh
Yeah, that's where I think the bulk of the revenue came from.
Yeah, well, China was a huge market for this.
I mean, like, what are they gonna do? Like, maybe they can make one more movie, but I don't see 2 more after that.
No, it's 4. They're making a saga.
How?
If they can do it with the Jurassic Park series, they can definitely do it with this. And
This-
those movies were huge overseas.
All right, Pandora is a huge planet. There's so many different cultures that they can definitely war with, but I think they want to have it as in like the last one that the humans come back. I think that's what they're trying. Like they're trying to and then like the next 3 movies, you'll unite all these tribes to fight the big final boss.
So
which is
Infinity
Earth.
War, but with Avatar people.
Yes, with Avatar people.
Why does everything have to be Infinity War?
Ask James Cameron. He doesn't like superhero movies, but he's essentially Martin Scorsese doesn't like superhero movies, but I don't think James Cameron does either. No, James Cameron doesn't like superhero movies either because that's why he re-released Avatar in China.
But that doesn't really count because technically you could say Terminator 2 was a precursor to the modern superhero movie, couldn't you?
You could say Terminator in general is like the whole film franchise stuff as a whole. 'Cause
I mean,
before-
it's different kind of tonality, but kind of same ethos in a way.
yeah. I don't know. A lot of those big time directors, like I don't like superhero movies when they kind of made movies in the past that could be taken as like you said, precursors to
proto superhero movies
Yeah,
of some kind,
like a robot cyborg coming back to help save a kid to fight a future war against Terminators. It's kind of superhero-esque.
Yeah, just replace Terminators with mother boxes, and you have the plot of Justice League.
Oh my God! No! No!
You did not like that one, did
I
you?
didn't like that because it kind of could work. Oh,
Are you guys Avatar: Last Airbender fans?
Very much so, yes.
So I have some bad news. I know Netflix was doing like a live action series, but the creators of Avatar backed out of it.
Oh yeah, because it was apparently supposed to be like terrible. They didn't like the direction they were going. There were sex scenes in it.
I also saw that
I know.
they're changing the ages. So now Katara is going to be the oldest. She's going to be 17. Aang's going to be 13, and Sokka's going to be 15.
Part of the appeal is the fact that they are very much like
same ages.
and also the fact that they're like younger. Part of the to give you a bit of a contextualize, when you're in Japan, because Avatar is just a huge love letter to anime essentially, and to like a Western interpretation of like a classic kind of anime story. Most of your shonen anime protagonists are around 16 to 18 years old, because in Japanese culture, when you're 16 is kind of when you become like an adult. At that point, it's kind of like if like an action movie in the States had like a 22, 23-year-old protagonist, something like that. What Avatar did, because it was made for like Nickelodeon, they kind of bucked the trend. Instead of making their like main protagonists be these fresh out of high school kind of young adults, they're kids. They're kind of like around the same age of the kids that they're trying to like appeal the show to. That's kind of like part of their ethos is kind of how young they are. At least in the Dave
Filoni did that.
Yeah, he did.
So look, man, making bops everywhere.
Yeah. I started watching a lot of like Western animes in Castlevania. Have you seen that one?
I have not, but I know it's really good.
It's very good. Very, very, very good. I just finished it actually. And there was a scene in it that really, really creeps me out. Well, not creeped me out. It was just like shocking. So I don't want to go into detail, but there's a 3-way with like full on nudity. And it was weird. It was very weird.
Probably was supposed to be weird,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Trevor Belmont.
I don't do this anime stuff.
Yeah,
You got to watch
You
it.
want me to watch Demon Slayer?
Demon Slayer is great too. The movie's coming out in the States in a month or two. Or actually, no. Next month.
it's got to be a few weeks, I think. Yeah.
Sure.
I made him watch the first episode of My Hero Academia. He wasn't sold on it, but he at least appreciated it.
I can appreciate what it is. It seems like a fun show, and if you like it, cool, more power to you. I just wasn't my cup of tea with everything, and I was like, look, if you like it, cool, you like it. I'm not gonna hate on you if you like anime. Like if you like it, you like it. It's not a big deal.
Oh yeah, no. My Hero is just it's real good. It's entertaining. It's a nice and I don't know. It's a nice kind of almost construction yet deconstruction of the whole superhero genre.
Yeah. Naruto. That is a show that I will take months and months and months to finish.
I finished Naruto, but it was a special version of Naruto. It was essentially like a fan edit of it that takes out all the filler and it repaces the fights, so it's not like kind of garbage, because how the original, all the fights are like just what is essentially 5 minutes of combat has like 15 minutes of
Exactly.
padding, flashbacks, unnecessary dialogue and things like that.
Yeah.
It was basically an edit of that, and it was fine. It had some story issues I kind of didn't really
Oh, for sure.
mess with, especially in that last arc, which
Yeah.
oh boy, that that's a podcast episode itself talking about the war arc for Naruto. But
Yeah.
characterization wise, some great character moments.
Yeah,
the
I
pain
agree.
arc is one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen. And just the kind of emotional depth the fighting actually had towards that part of the show.
Yeah. Also, Full Metal Alchemists
No,
or Alchemists. Sorry.
Brotherhood is like my favorite anime of all
Yeah.
time. It's that good.
Yeah.
Brotherhood was the direct inspiration for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Really?
Yes.
You don't say.
It's great.
Okay.
So if you like Avatar, Brotherhood, you will definitely like. Very, very dark, a lot more darker, but it definitely has a lot of its kind of tonality and things like that too.
There was an anime I saw someone watch. It was like these vampires eating people or something.
That could
It
be-
was set in Japan. It was dark.
That's it. I feel like I know this one.
It's like really gory. Like it's like borderline just hardcore horror. And I forget what it was. I was sitting there watching it, but I'm like, this is hardcore. And I forget what it was called, and I don't remember other than like people were just eating each other, or it's like some disease or something. I don't know. I'm probably gonna get hate for not knowing this.
Was it Hellsing?
Maybe.
Was there a main protagonist guy in like a red coat, sunglasses?
Do you have a picture of this?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. You might recognize this.
No, I don't think
Was
so.
not Hellsing. Okay,
No.
that's probably I think the most popular vampire anime I can think
Maybe
of
it
off the
wasn't
top of my
vampire,
head.
but it was people. It was something along the lines of people had to feed to survive off other humans and stuff. I don't know. One of the weird ones I stumbled upon people watching, but not my forte of discussing anime. So
You would like Attack on Titan?
I've been seeing more and more of it, and it seems something that I would be interested in. Maybe I'll get around to it after the 4 seasons done, so I can just watch it all.
Yeah.
It does. I've seen it, and I've always been like, that's pretty cool, So maybe I'll get around to that.
Great story, pacing, characters are just fantastically well written. Awesome fight scenes that are just incredibly just unique to that show too. And I won't give too many spoilers, but basically the entire genre of the show will flip after a certain plot point. It goes from this action series to just like almost a political espionage kind of thing. It's insane.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it turns into this like just mind confusey kind of psychological thing that just like messes with you halfway through, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Normally shows that are this popular don't take that big of a risk, but really appreciate what they did with that.
All right.
You would like that.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good place for us to stop. I think we've been doing this for about an hour now.
This is our longest one yet.
This has been our longest one yet. But
What can I say? Having a third person contribute to the conversation actually helps and benefits.
It really helps. Dylan, thank you for coming on. I hope maybe you can come on again soon.
Oh yeah,
Good
It
vibes.
was a pleasure, a lot of fun. I like talking about like this quote unquote nerdy stuff, I guess.
Yeah, we joke and call it degen crap because that's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's really just a place where we can rant about the current pop culture topics and stuff like that going on.
We don't have any. This isn't a themed podcast. We literally just whatever's on our mind, we just vomit it out.
And everyone loves it. So
For all of us, to all of you, I hope this hour has been enjoyable for you. This has been just the three of us. Have a good night and enjoy.
Just two
3,
of us. We can make it if we try. Just
3,
of us. Just
3,
of us. Just
3,
of us. Yielding kisses in the sky. Just
3,
of us.